Thank you, Lisa. I'm actually one of the people who loves this stuff, so it wasn't boring. So that's a lot of information. I learned 2 or 3 things. One, watch out, us oldsters are coming, and that millennials want it all. The only thing that I think Lisa got wrong is the way to track where the millennials are going is track where building permits for brew pubs are, and then you'll find where they're going. So you've heard a lot of information thrown out there. By the way, my name's Bob Brosnan. As listed on here, former director of CPHD. There's a lot of former directors of CPHD in this room, and one might ask, well, what about directors of CPHD? So before I go too much further, I would like to introduce Steve Cover, who is not a former CPHD director, but a CPHD director. He just showed back up for work after 1 week, so that's a good sign that we're off to a pretty good start. But I encourage you to introduce yourself to him. He comes with a wide variety of background and expertise. Let's see. So you've heard a lot of the kind of complexities that go into thinking about where a region or a county might be going. You've seen regional demographic trends, and certainly Lisa has given you some opinions about what she thinks is going to happen to the future. I think it really shows you how, I won't say difficult, but how complicated it is to do forecasts and projections, because a lot of it has to do with these kind of trends that she's talking about. You will see in the staff's presentation tonight that we are pretty good at tracking square footages and numbers of units or stuff, but it's these higher level things of when trends are changing that are harder to track. And Lisa certainly has some fairly well-founded opinions on that. One of the things we struggle with, for instance, is when or if these millennials who are living in a lot of the apartments that are being developed in our high-density corridors will stay there, will they form families, and will they start generating school children? We don't know the answer to that. That's crystal ball gazing. What we can do is track those trends pretty carefully and make adjustments as we go along. So we'll talk tonight a little bit about how those kind of things work and how we work together with schools. Our upcoming presentations will show some historical trends, recent data on county demographics, and then you'll hear how those trends are used to forecast our growth and to project school enrollment based on established methodologies. Now, these methodologies, people can probably poke holes in them, and one of the things that we're going to do is we are looking to bring a consultant on board to kind of test both the county side and the school sides. Are we doing it right? Could we do things better? So that we just have some refinements on that front. So what we're going to do, what I want to do before we move over to presentations is, as we were building up to this process and as we've gotten into this process, there are some questions swirling around out there. John Milliken talked to some of them earlier. I want to talk about a few of them very quickly and let you know what I think we're going to answer for you tonight and those that we are going to have to take up at subsequent sessions. So the first one that we've been hearing is, are the county and APS forecasts different? And what you'll hear tonight is that the forecasts and projections, why the forecasts and projections are different and why they're used for completely different things and they're counting different things. And also some areas where the county's population forecasts do feed the school's projections. And we will spend a lot of time talking about the differences between forecasting and projecting, because we're really forecasting people from the county side, and what the schools are interested in is a subset of those people, those that are going to be entering schools. So they're two different things, much harder to figure out. The second one is, The second one is how do counties' forecasts account for bonus density that can be adjusted for community benefits? And we will address that to a degree tonight, and we're also continuing to do some work on that to go back and look at our forecast and see how well we did. So some of that's going to have to come forward at a subsequent meeting. just briefly, in some of the areas of the county, those bonuses are actually built into the plans and into our forecasts. In other places, they're not, so it's not so easy to answer that question in with one single answer. Why is school enrollment increasing so much? I mean, that's one of the cores that we're here to talk about. APS will present different factors that have changed over the last 7 to 10 years that have affected school enrollment. And again, you heard from Lisa some of the things that may affect it going forward. And that's kind of the challenge. How do we project it going forward? Another question that people have been asking are new multifamily housing and committed affordable units affecting school enrollment. And the answer to that we won't get into tonight. We're continuing to work through. I think intuitively we think not, but we don't want to base our presentations to you on intuition. We want it to be more factual. And so partly we'll be working with the consultants on that. Partly we'll be examining some of our data that we just haven't had a chance to do yet, and we'll be getting back to you a little bit more with that in the future. One of the things that this does raise, and John mentioned it briefly when he started, is so how does this intersect with the affordable housing study? If affordable housing is in fact generating school children, shouldn't we be dealing with that? And I just wanted to reiterate what John said, which is that this is not a part of the affordable housing study. The affordable housing study has been underway for about 2.5 years now. There's been a working group working on it. There is a work session with the board that is scheduled for, I think, the 3rd week in March. Oh, thank you. And always glad to have backup on the, if once the board it feels comfortable that the working group's product is good to take out to the community, then, as John said, it will run its normal course with community forums and things like that. What it should result in is a new element of the comprehensive plan that will be an affordable housing element, and it will have updated goals and targets, and it will also have implementation tools and some further study that we have to do on implementation tools. So there are plenty of opportunities to get involved with and have a say in the affordable housing study going forward. This process will not be addressing that. Getting back to some of the questions then, we've got a few more. Are families switching from private to public schools? And on that one, we're going to have APS. We'll get to some answers on that one tonight. How accurate have previous population forecasts and school enrollment projections been? And we will present slides tonight that show how well both groups actually have done at projecting and forecasting. And then lastly, has APS considered purchasing or leasing vacant office space to increase school capacity? And that's going to be one of the next steps of the committee's work, is taking all this we've done and starting to make some recommendations along those lines. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of sense of some of the things we'll be touching on, some of the questions that maybe you yourselves have been asking. And I think with that, what I'd like to do is, Elizabeth, you're up first. So Elizabeth Hardy will be making the first piece of the county presentation, followed by Andrew DeVetter. Well, I think, John, we're going to take a little break at that point, and then schools will come back and make their presentation. So thanks.